Okay, hear me out. An overwhelming presence. One which invokes a sense of absolute fear within both the characters and readers of Jujutsu Kaisen. An unbeatable obstacle that can seemingly never be overcome. This is what Ryomen Sukuna brings to the series. Looking at his action throughout JJK, it seems unclear how his reign as the King of Terror could ever possibly end. However, it is actually made quite clear when you zoom out and look at the full picture as it has been painted thus far. And his end will come from the most unlikely of sources. One whom Sukuna would consider nothing but an insect. One who is useless. Kasumi Miwa. But to ever even consider this possibility, we must first go back through the story thus far. How would the strongest be brought down by one who is seemingly the weakest? Let us begin at Miwa's first appearance. She appears with Principal Gakuganji before Satoru Gojo enters the scene. Now, let us consider Sukuna's first appearance. He appears before Megumi Fushiguro before Satoru Gojo enters the scene. Miwa appears with a higher-up of Jujutsu Society, while Sukuna appears with the future head of the Zenin clan, two individuals of great societal importance. These are extremely similar scenes, oddly enough, even in their structure. Both Miwa and Sukuna appear among these characters, the most societally relevant and the absolute strongest. Miwa, just like Sukuna did, will likely ascend to both of these heights of Jujutsu Society. Furthermore, this is a weakened Sukuna, much like how Miwa in her first scene is presumably much weaker than how she will end up at the end of the series. Sukuna will go from a mere 1 to 20 fingers, and Miwa will go from useless to pivotal in the progression of the series. This scene serves to introduce parallels in both scaling and power and importance for these two, but the proof does not stop there. Miwa's first interaction with Itadori is the attempt to kill him alongside the rest of Kyoto. However, she hesitates within her simple domain. Had she not hesitated, she perhaps could have taken him out there and then. After seeing what damage Sukuna's presence has brought, she will not hesitate again if ever she comes face to face with the King of Curses. Those who reach the heights of power within Jujutsu Kaisen do so by tossing everything else aside, whether that be through pure malice, selfishness, or loss. And who has undergone more mental turmoil than Miwa? She has lived with the crushing burden of providing for her poor family despite her presumed weakness. She has lost both of her classmates, Mekamaru and Mai, her best friend and the one she loved, the one who loved her. For someone with such low self-esteem, for one who sees herself as truly useless to have lost so much, well, that's the recipe for a top-tier sorcerer. The most obvious concern about Miwa killing Sukuna is the gap in strength between them. But what proof have we really seen that Miwa is weak, apart from her talking about herself? She may think herself weak, but that is not necessarily the case. After all, she is already capable of simple domain, which is not a feat many characters have displayed. Even strong sorcerers like Nanami do not have a simple domain. And as we have seen time and time again, strength in Jujutsu Kaisen can be unlocked with a simple mental switch. In the Goodwill event, she was notably written out due to her sleeping through the majority of the arc. Interesting that Gege intentionally did not allow her near the Playful Cloud, which utilizes the wielder's true strength. In Shibuya 2, Miwa was notably absent. Perhaps if she was around, her grief for Kokichi Muta could have sparked growth within her. Against Kenjaku, Miwa puts her heart and soul into one attack, letting her emotions run rampant. Just like when Yuji failed to hit a Black Flash for the first time, Miwa is failing to focus her cursed energy, and this causes the attack to be far less effective. If she were to no longer allow her emotions to control her, say if she were able to have a blank expression on her face, then this could have become a Black Flash, or perhaps something greater. Even still, it forces Kenjaku into the defensive, and he is made to use his trump card, the Maximum Uzumaki. Even against Yuki Tsukumo, a special grade sorcerer, Kenjaku only needed a miniature version of this attack to win. If Kusakabe can become a grade 1 sorcerer with only the new shadow style, perhaps Miwa can ascend even to the level of special grade, to a level capable of opposing the King of Curses. It is no mistake she was last seen in Sendai Colony, walking through the wreckage of Ishigori's Granite Blast, unscathed within the most dangerous colony in the games. In the very same colony as Sukuna currently is. It is almost as though they are fated to fight. Sukuna has been simply facing in preliminary matches against Ishigori and Jirozu and Angel. His deadliest opponent may be waiting just over the horizon, with an empty heart and a sword in hand. Now some food for thought. Have you ever found it strange that Miwa was scouted to become a sorcerer even though she has average cursed energy and no curse technique as opposed to every other member of Jujutsu High? Or her uniquely blue hair, which was notably dyed black by her mother when she was growing up. Well, actually, there is one character who has such vibrant blue hair. None other than Hajime Kashimo, a man with a technique he is certain can provide a challenge even for, you guessed it, Ryomen Sukuna. Perhaps this sorcerer from 400 years ago is an ancestor of Miwa, and perhaps this is the very reason she was scouted for Jujutsu sorcery in the first place. Not to mention that Kashimo made his proper debut in the Culling Games fighting Panda only 2 chapters after Miwa's tease at the end of Sendai. This is highly speculative, but I believe it to be more than possible. I certainly believe there is more to Miwa than meets the eye. All jokes aside, Miwa is certain to play a major role in the final arc of Kaisen. Her mental state has always been in turmoil, and her development has only served to worsen this. Mekamaru wished to protect her, he only ever had her best intentions at heart. However, his actions in Shibuya served to further plunge her mental state into despair. And with the death of Mai in the beginning of the Culling Games, Miwa has had no friends there to comfort her or to help her. She likely has feelings of abandonment, which are interestingly paralleled with the fall of Suguru Geto in a way. And this very decline may well lead to a dramatic jump in power. In the same colony as Sukuna and Yuta currently are, it is not unlikely that their paths will cross, and perhaps a match for Sukuna can come from the most unremarkable sorcerer, from one he would deem an insect. But let's be real, Miwa one-shot Sukuna negative diff, Miwa sweep, Miwa kills Sukuna, MKK, Miwa Nation, subscribe to me, thank you to Broken Run and the Honor Runs podcast for fronting the Miwa agenda, April Fools, or is it buy Miwa stocks now?